Having a bad hair day? We let something as simple as hair follicles set the mood of our days, weeks, and months. As African Americans, culturally, our hair has always been more than just hair. Each African ethnic group puts their own traditional meanings to various hairstyles and forms of dress. Your social status, religion, and family's background could be determined by observing these traits. Tall hairstyles signified closeness to God. Men with braided hair were warriors, and a woman with unkempt hair was known as a mourning woman. According to Mathilda's anthropology, the ancient knits on their tiny tooth combs will attest. Real Egyptians were plagued by infestations of scalp-biting bugs. Real Egyptians cropped their curls and even shaved their heads for the sake of hygiene, specifically to remove the habitat of lice. And quite clearly, they also loved elaborate hairstyles and went to great lengths to adorn themselves with wigs, false braids, and hair extensions. After slavery was abolished, many whites felt that by hot combing their hair to make it straight, black women tried to be white. Modern day black women that are transitioning from their permed hair to their natural hair are always targeted by people thinking that something disastrous has happened in their lives. There's been an evolutionary process that has turned into a revolution. It is not an angry movement. Women aren't saying their motivation is to combat Eurocentric ideals of beauty. Rather, this is a movement characterized by self-discovery and health. Ball. Question. Do you think black women were and are trying to be white by using various methods to have straight hair? Or do they truly just want more manageable hair? The height of the Afrocentrism movement in America in the 60s and 70s gave black people a chance to reclaim their heritage and culture, and sparked revolutions in music, fashion, and ideals. Many pivotal black women like Angela Davis, Nikki Giovanni, and Nina Simone protested against racial segregation, colorism, and discrimination with their assertive hairstyles and choice of dress. Today, African Americans have evolved the Afro into the "going natural" movement. We use going natural as a way to find our identity as black people, and upon finding that identity, hopefully more in tune with ourselves. Authors Baines and Jeffries stated that identity formation for humans is intrinsically connected to our relationship with our hair, and for girls and women whose hair does not match the beauty standards of the current norm, this formation is particularly powerful. What is the standard of good hair for black people, women in particular? What is good hair for you? Is the societal standard of good hair what's necessarily good for black people's minds, bodies, and souls? The media is very distinct and purposeful with who they put on the big screen. It is an accepted fact that oftentimes many media outlets do not portray that natural hair is wanted or even beautiful enough to make it onto the big screen. The problem remains, however, that while we may style our hair to reflect our own individual choices, our hair is still being interpreted by a white mainstream gaze, and that interpretation is often wrong as well as racist. Passive-aggressive undercurrents like these are responsible for the whole generation of black people growing up not loving who they naturally are. If a child's favorite characters in books, movies, and television are all white from the get-go, and the child never even has the opportunity to be exposed to characters that look like them, how can we expect them to love themselves? It is the nature of a child to be observant, and because the media is so bent on portraying one homogeneous group of characters, all white, from the same backgrounds, they're stunning the emotional and mental growth of children of color. It is the responsibility of parents to stop this generational cycle of programmed self-hatred for one's heritage and natural beauty. Many parents for generations have made it their agendas to stop this cycle in their families long before the birth of their children. But this is a minority group of black people in America. What about the majority of families whose parents never knew how to handle an afro and only know how to perm their children's hair and wear it in a straightened ponytail? We live in a world where the injustices done to us by white people in taking us from our cultures in Africa have released waves of repercussions over hundreds of years. How much do you really know about your history and culture before your ancestors were brought to America? Do you think the state of blackness in America is really that bent out of shape? African Americans take a lot of pride in their hair, and we have every right to. Our hair is our story and will continue to be our story for generations to come. Africans knew their hair was beautiful. They would spend hours washing, combing, and oiling their hair to ensure it remained healthy. Africans used to use elaborate combs, brushes, and ornaments like cowrie shells to highlight the beauty of their hair. Many of the natural hairstyles, that is, hairstyles that utilize our natural afro hair, have been worn by people of African descent for hundreds of years. In the same way that makeup has been practiced by women of all cultures for thousands of years, women and men have been braiding in Africa for longer. Love your roots and I love mine. Being yourself shouldn't take much time. What the world wants is someone else, but I shine best just being myself. You shouldn't put no one above you. How can they all love you if you don't? I promise that they won't. It shouldn't be that hard to look inside, 'cause that's where you will find your pride, baby. There ain't no other way. That's it.